we should embrace that anger. We should embrace the sadness, the hurt, rejection, whatever that is coming up for us. We should embrace that rather than avoiding and trying to hide it.
A lot of people think, I'm not suffering enough, I don't need therapy.
If you cut yourself, you wouldn't wait until it got bigger and bigger and bigger. You deal with it straight away, you clean it up and go and manage that. I get really frustrated because I feel like we live in a world now where we've got like good emotions and bad emotions.
You're able to identify triggers.
In our body, we're so detached from how our body feels that we really need to learn, if your belly's going, why is it going?
What's going on? Yeah. How do we encourage men to open up to the people that are close to you?
I really think that therapy needs to be made more accessible to men. It takes 8 minutes. That's all it would take.
What is happening, beautiful people? This is the Empowered Human Podcast. This podcast is part of Empowered Human Tribe. Some journeys change your life. This is one of them. From the 15th to the 22nd of November, we are going to India. We're going to Varkala for Empowered Wellness Escape, designed for people who have been carrying a lot. To find out more, head over to empoweredhumantribe.co.uk. And big love to our sponsor, Life Lab Supplement. They produce high quality wellness supplements and help other brands build their own. Check them out at lifelabsupplement.com. Before we dive in, go ahead and subscribe, leave a rating, and share this podcast with someone you love. Now, take a deep breath. Open your mind and let's dive in.
Welcome, Samantha. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I'm going to get straight into it, right? A lot of people think, I'm not suffering enough, I don't need therapy. Mm-hmm. I'm going to wait until I'm suffering, then I'm going to go seek therapy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't wait. I think a lot of people literally, like you said, think, oh, my problem's not big enough.
Yeah.
It's only something small. But that's when you need to come.
Yeah.
Because when it gets too big, it's so overwhelming then.
Yeah.
And you're trying to manage something that's just way out of control.
Yeah.
You can, like if you like cut yourself, you wouldn't wait until it got bigger and bigger and bigger. You deal with it straight away, you clean it up and go and manage that. So I think it's the same with your mental health, like just don't wait.
So what was the defining moment that made you realize that therapy was your calling?
I've wanted to be a therapist since I was like 9. I lost my mum when I was super, super young. So I was 9 when I lost my mum, and I had therapists all throughout my life.
Wow.
And they just changed my life. So I've always wanted to do it. But when I went to high school, I was like, I had to pick between being going counselling route or being a pop star. And obviously I wanted
pop star.
Obviously I wanted to be a pop star, so that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I went down that route. But in the back of my mind, I always still wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And people would still say to me, God, like you could well be a counsellor, like. And then I became a beauty therapist, and even in that, I just think. You were literally a therapist. Yeah. You listen to people all the time.
Yeah, do you know what? That is a fact, yeah.
Yeah. So COVID hit and I just thought, what am I doing? So I just quit my job.
Yeah.
I went to uni and just decided that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to be a counsellor. I think it's just always been in me.
Yeah. So what is it like? What is an integrative counsellor? Could you tell us what that means and how that, what...
Yeah. So basically, there are over like 400 different modalities of therapy.
Okay.
Which, again, people don't know. I think we know like the standard ones.
Yeah.
And the ones that are offered to us through like GP, NHS, that kind of stuff. And for me, I didn't want to fit into just one bracket. So integrative means to me...
Yeah.
Being able to integrate different modalities of therapy. So different parts of them modalities I can bring in. Yeah. It just means that I can tailor make sessions to suit my client's needs.
Amazing.
Rather than trying to fit them into a one-size-fits-all box.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like that's more, what's the word for it? Like personal.
Yeah.
Because then you're trying to, find things that fits around their.
Exactly. We're all unique, aren't we? So why would you try and squeeze someone into a box?
Yeah, I love that. And when it comes to using therapy proactively, how do we do that? Like, what would your advice be?
first of all, I think people need to know how they access therapy. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people go straight to GPs, and that's because that's all we've ever been
Yeah.
told. You go straight there. But that's not the case. You don't have to go straight to your GP.
Yeah.
We have a website called Counselling Directory, which is
Okay.
just a directory full of counsellors.
Yeah.
It's literally like a dating website. It's awful.
Is it?
Yeah. So you've got pictures of people. You can see who they are. There's
Yeah.
like bios and all that kind of stuff. And you literally just scroll through and pick
Yeah.
who you want to speak to. Usually they'll offer you like a 15-minute free chat on the phone just so
Okay.
you can have a bit of a consultation. Because I feel like you kind of need to have a chat with the person that you want to speak to kind of see if you can gel with them before jumping into something. It's quite a personal thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So I would advise people to go straight down that route if they can. Therapy can be super affordable for a lot of people.
That's the other thing, isn't it? 'Cause,
Yeah.
I think therapy for a lot of people think therapy are too expensive, and it can be for some people, right?
Yeah.
Let's be real. But you're saying to me, like, you know, it's not as expensive as we think it is.
I did a generic search this morning on Counselling Directory within Lancashire, face-to-face, and the cheapest one was from £20.
From £20?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it is affordable.
Yeah.
I just think that's our takeaway, isn't it? On a weekend or our Starbucks every week, whatever it may be.
Yeah, of course. £20, like, when you put in that perspective, like, you know, you can easily spend that when you go out on a night out.
And I'm not disputing that. It's still £20. It's still a lot of money for some people. But if you're at a point and you can do that, then
you should
try and access it that way. Plus, you can pick your own therapist then. You're not being given someone who you don't know.
Yeah.
You can have a conversation with them and see whether you gel.
So let's talk about, you know, some common fears when it comes to therapy.
Yeah.
Right? Therapy, like, would you say is, you know, for people that think it's too uncomfortable, like, what would you say to that?
So again, I would, if you can, pick your own and have a conversation with them, because I can bet your bottom dollar they will make you feel instantly comfortable.
Yeah.
And if they don't, pick someone else. They're not right for you. Like I said, it's literally like dating. You've got to kiss a couple of frogs to meet who you need to be with. Also, therapy isn't for everybody. So if you come and decide, oh, it's just not quite what I need, it's not my vibe, that's fine too. But at least you've tried.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would say just giving it a try, dip your toe in the water a little bit and just see.
So how do you help people who are a bit more hesitant?
I take the pressure off straight away.
Yeah.
So I don't sit and say you have to come every week and have 6 sessions. That's not how I work. You are in control of your sessions straight away. So if you want to come every week, you can. If you just want to come and try it, do that. If you want to contact other counsellors as well, do that. In fact, I encourage people to do that, because then you've got other people's... You've tried to connect with other people and see whether you gel there as well. Yeah. I just think that you're in control of your therapy. You know what you need, really, deep down. You just need guidance to find out what it is. Yeah. And by being plonked with someone that you don't know and don't gel with, you're creating them barriers
more
even
resistance,
more.
Yeah, more resistance. I want to talk about, like, the rise in, for example, mental health issues, and the rise in, you know, depression, you know, estimating it to be like the biggest killer. Yeah. Like, what is your take on it, and why do you think this, that we're seeing high like rise in this?
I think it's huge at the minute. I think COVID had a huge impact on especially children and young people. They obviously weren't in schools for quite a significant amount of time. So I think that's had such a massive impact. Yeah. And unfortunately, the funding just isn't there through the NHS side of things. They do amazing work, but it's not enough. The money's just not there for them. Yeah. I also believe that they're being told to go and try a specific modality of therapy that doesn't work for, I'm sure it was 50% of people it didn't work for. Oh, wow. And it's on their website. Yeah. So it actually states that the people that did go and attend and try this modality didn't work for.
Yeah.
So I think there's that part as well. It's just, and people are at crisis point already. So
Of course, yeah. Jeez.
it's hard.
Yeah, stress also is on a high.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think are the contributing factors to all these issues, and how do we address this through therapy?
I think even things like work-life balance, like everything's so busy, isn't it, nowadays? You know, you work so much and you don't seem to stop. And even when you're at home, where you're supposed to be switching off, you'll be on your phone doing your work still.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm on my phone right now.
Exactly. Like, we don't have that switch off time. The other thing is as well, I think, I massively believe that there's a huge stigma around self-care.
Absolutely, yeah.
And how people believe it's selfish.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we're going to the gym, God, you must be so egotistical and all this kind of stuff. And it's madness, really, because we need self-care to be able to manage these stresses.
Absolutely.
And get through just the days. And you need to have some fun and lightheartedness in our lives and stuff that makes us feel better.
Yeah.
So things like that massively help. Anything self-care wise, but self-care looks really different for us all.
Yeah, it's different for different people, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, my self-care would be like hitting the gym for like 3 hours.
Exactly.
Which a lot of people be like, nah, that would be their worst nightmare.
Yeah. See, I understand, I love badminton. I was at badminton this morning and like swimming and stuff, but then other people love journaling.
Yeah.
Or mindfulness or yoga. Anything that, you know, they can just channel that.
Yeah.
I think that's really positive.
Absolutely. I'm trying to think of, at what point did you realize that this was your calling to, like, what brings you the most joy in doing what you're doing?
So I was talking to my dad about this yesterday.
Yeah.
I will never be able to describe the feeling of watching a client come through my doors at rock bottom and leave being the person I knew they were when they first came in, and seeing them and how much they've grown and the journey they've been on. I will never be able to describe that feeling ever. And on my business cards, it's crazy. So I've got a couple of clients that will come in and be like, you know, I'm just not enough. That's how I feel. I'm just not enough for people. I'm not enough for myself. And my business cards on the back say you are enough.
Yeah.
And every time it gives me goosebumps when I hear them say, like, I am enough. And I know I am, because I'm just like, it was there for a reason on them cards all along.
Yeah.
Because you are enough. And people just, we don't know yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I feel like everyone needs that reminder, you know, that I feel like a lot of time, because you're so into yourself that you can't see out.
Yeah.
And like, you know, if you you know, saying that to yourself, you know, there's no other way out unless someone tells you actually there is a way out. Like, you know, you can be more than you are right now. When it comes to, you know, people coming to you and like your clients and stuff, like, what are the common issues that you notice in general?
Self-esteem is like the biggest one, I think. The worthlessness, I'm not enough, I'm a failure, that kind of vibes. Emotions, people really struggle with emotions at the minute. I think a lot of the time I get really frustrated because I feel like we live in a world now where we've got like good emotions and bad emotions, and it frustrates the hell out of me because I'm just like, they're just emotions.
Emotions, yeah.
And because we've done that, we don't like to visit the negative, uncomfortable emotions. So we avoid them.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are holding the signposts up, directing you where you need to look at.
Yeah.
So we're completely ignoring that because we really want to sit in the positive side, which is great, but it becomes toxic positivity then.
Yeah.
So that really frustrates me. And I think I always try and get my clients to feel really comfortable in the space that we're in so that they can explore them. Yeah. And explore them in a really safe environment where they feel comfortable to just do that.
So if someone is like listening to this right now and I'm thinking, oh, you are right, Samantha, like, you know, I'm not dealing with my negative emotions, and, you know, I've learned to, you know, separate them, so therefore, you know, I only focus on the positive. What can they do right now, you know, that can help them, you know, take that first step?
Yeah. contact a therapist if that's that's the angle that they want to go onto straight away. If not, journaling's amazing, and it's one of the most simplest things that we
How do you journal?
So I always think that everyone thinks, dear diary.
Dear diary.
No.
Today, the 21st of May.
Get rid.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me knows my journaling is words, or I'll scribble, and it's not even like a full-on sentence. It just might be like angry.
Yeah.
Or like frustrated, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And some days I've drawn like a brain, because sometimes my brain feels like, woolly, like it's all jumbled up and mixed up. So sometimes I'll just scribble, and that's all I need to do. It doesn't need to be a long page paragraph of today was awful because this and this happened. It doesn't need to be that. Just get it out.
It is what you make it to be. Even for me personally, what I've done in the past, I remember 2 years ago. It's not 2 years ago. Like a year and a half ago, I literally took my camera out. I feel like I was at my lowest, and I pressed the record button.
Yeah.
And I was just speaking to it.
Yeah.
And literally, like in that camera, I made myself a promise. I was like, in 2 years' time. So I said in 2 years' time, I'm gonna come back and watch that video again.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I feel like that's a form of journaling, and I feel like it's finding what works for you. And I feel like in that moment, that worked for me.
Yeah. Some of the things that I use. So I use mood cards a lot with my clients.
What's mood cards?
So they're literally cards, and they're different colours. Yeah. They'll have different words on and different faces.
Oh, I like that. That's fun. Yeah.
So you might connect with the colour rather than the face, or you might connect with the word rather than the colour. Yeah. Whatever it may be. And you can just lie them out and pick ones that you are drawn to at that time. And explore that. There's words, or there might be questions on the back. So you can ask yourself what the questions are. Yeah. So like if it's something to do with anger, like what's made me angry today? What's made me happy today? Like if I've been nervous, or, anything like that. Like why was I anxious? What happened? How did I feel when I was anxious? Suddenly you're doing it yourself. Like and then you're being able to go, oh, my belly was going. That's why. That means I was anxious. Yeah. Suddenly you're doing it. It doesn't have to be I was sad. Yeah.
Blah,
blah, blah.
So it's like you're able to like identify triggers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we're so detached from our emotions now that like in our body, we're so detached from how our body feels that we really need to learn, if your belly's going, why is it going?
What's going on? Yeah.
Don't be like, I ate something dodgy. Yeah. No, there's something going on. Like, why is it? What's happening? Yeah. If we're sick, why are we sick? It's usually because we're burnt out. Something's happened. Yeah. Why have we got burnt out? What's going on? Yeah,
I feel like people are always looking at the symptoms rather than the actual cause. Yeah. And I feel like I used to be like that as well, because I noticed that in the evenings, I always go through like a lot of like self-doubt. Mm-hmm. I'm like, the whole day could be fine. And I'm like, I started noticing it around like 6 p.m. And again, I now know that it's because I'm fatigued. Yeah. I'm tired. And I feel like when I'm tired, my brain is like, we can't do this. We suck. Yeah. And then next morning I wake up, I'm like, oh, let's go again. Exactly. I'm buzzing again. I'm like 3 hours in the gym, but I feel like if you don't like identify and like those triggers, you think, we're
so hard on ourselves. Yeah. Like if you're ill, the first thing to go is our brains we start feeling sorry for ourselves, and then we're like, oh my gosh, this has been going on forever. Yeah, I'll never get better. And then you start moping and feeling sad about it. Yeah. But as soon as you start to feel a bit better, you're like, I'm
pumped again. Yeah. So to you, how important are negative emotions?
Oh, they're like for me, they're my favourites. Yeah, the best.
Talk to me about that.
And I know people think, what?
What's going on? You're crazy.
Yeah. So I always talk about like anger as well. Like anger's my favourite one. Yeah. So I use like inside out characters quite a lot. Yeah.
Is it that animation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
So like if we are angry, to me, if you were to line anger up, behind anger is the next emotion. So you would feel something. Say you didn't let me in the door today. Yeah. I would feel rejected. I'd feel hurt. But it might come across as like I'm fuming, I'm angry. Yeah. So I'd be shouting, I'd be screaming, I might be kicking off and slamming doors.
Throw the whole
throw things around. Yeah. But behind that, I'm not angry. I'm really hurt that you didn't let me through the door.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to express that.
So it's just anger as a way of you expressing that. Yeah.
Or rejected because of something, like it's triggered something else from past previous experiences, but I've gone to like absolutely raging.
Yeah.
Because how do you express rejection and hurt?
Of course. So like all those emotions are normal, but it's just trying to find ways to almost express yourself without causing damage.
Yeah, I always say like you can be angry, absolutely, but within reason. Like if you're smashing things up, then it's a little bit of a different story.
Yeah.
But we should embrace that anger. We should embrace the sadness, the hurt, rejection, whatever that is coming up for us. We should embrace that rather than avoiding and trying to hide it.
Yeah. So how do you move forward from that then? Let's say you're hungry and you like you said earlier, there's something behind that.
Yeah.
How do you explore that, and how do you find that thing that is behind it?
So a lot of the time we spend a lot of time thinking that it's not okay to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
If you didn't let me through the door today and I felt rejection, I'm absolutely entitled to feel rejection.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's okay, yeah.
Yeah. And it's about us accepting that.
Yeah.
And accepting that actually my feelings are valid too.
Yeah.
And it's okay for me to feel that way.
Yeah. Rather
than being like, oh my gosh, I can't feel that way.
Yeah.
Let's hide it.
Yeah. And quick.
Exactly. And once we start to accept that, we'll be able to feel more comfortable when these emotions come up, and then we're not screaming and kicking off.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I think when it comes to people expressing emotion, I think a massive part of it, like you said, is acceptance, but also being comfortable enough to let people know.
Yeah.
But that's the issue. It's hard. Like, how do you navigate that?
It is really, really difficult. In terms of, it's a massive step to be able to say like, I'm not actually doing okay, and that's triggered something for me. But again, for me, it comes straight back to that like, self-acceptance, that self-worth, knowing that we deserve to be able to feel all the emotions, positive and negative, whichever people want to, whichever category. It's okay to feel all of them.
Yeah.
And it's okay to accept help and ask for help too.
Yeah.
And it is a big thing. I've really struggled in fact, it wasn't even that long ago that I struggled because I'm a single parent. I was like, I do it all on my own.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Independent lady.
Yeah. And then I was like,
I need help.
Do all this on your own.
Yeah.
So it is just but I would always say like reach out to someone that you feel comfortable with, whether it's a friend, a family member, someone you trust.
Do you know what I find? I find that I find it a lot easier to speak to strangers about my problems than people that are close to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's some stuff that I've experienced that I feel like a major that I've never spoken to, like no one, like people that are close to me don't know about it, but people that aren't close to me know about it.
Yeah.
And how do you open up to the people that are close to you? Like, is there a strategy, or do you just accept that one day I just need to speak to these people? Like, how do you go about it?
Yeah. So I read somewhere that it takes 8 minutes. That's all it would take to be able to have a conversation and offload and feel comfortable.
8 minutes.
Yeah, 8 minutes. And it was on a podcast. I can't remember who it was. And they would just text each other saying, have you got 8 minutes?
Oh, I like that.
That's all it would take, just so that they could be like, I need to just speak to you about this. And then, as ridiculous as it sounds, you get rid of the bump of, are you all right? Yeah, you, what have you been doing?
Yeah, or they're like,
Because I think that's another thing, like, we
talks.
use greetings now, like, you all right? Like, and people say, yeah, you, and really, we're not actually asking.
Yeah.
Because that was another thing that I do this with my clients. So when I greet them, I always say, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, you. And then when we go upstairs, when we get back into my room and sit down, I'll say, are you okay?
Yeah.
And then because we've asked a second time, they'll be like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I always think that that's really important, that asking, it should be 3 times, I think. We should ask to really get the
you're all right, because I feel like the greetings are just like a passing comment that you just say because it feels like polite to do. It's like, oh, you're all right, I'm good, yeah. You
don't have an in-depth conversation and be like, well, no, actually, I'm not.
Yeah, but if you're, if you're trying to ask that question, how do you go about it without feeling like you're being intrusive? Like obviously you said like doing it 3 times, but like are there other ways, or like, you know, how important is the way you say it, like, you know?
I think just letting people know as well that you're
Yeah.
there for them if anything's going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't want to talk and they're not ready. We have the same in therapy.
Yeah.
You know, people may come and do their first session with me and then they don't come back, and that's absolutely fine because they're just not ready.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's difficult for us to kind of be like, that person's not ready.
Yeah.
I can't keep saying, are you okay?
Are you okay? Yeah.
Yeah. So even if it is just, I've tried to say that, are you okay? And they're saying they're fine.
Yeah.
You know, just saying like, I am here if you do need anything, or I'm just a call away, I'm just a text message away.
Yeah.
You know, I will always be there.
Yeah.
I think is really important, especially for men.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's the like the other topic, you know. How do we encourage men to open up? Even for me personally, I've never seen a therapist, but I've found ways to I found ways to express myself. So I found other ways to offload.
Yeah.
But I still feel like some therapy is something maybe like I would love to, you know, try in the future. But how do we encourage men to open up?
I really think that therapy needs to be made more accessible to men.
Yeah.
I feel like it's easy for women to be like, oh, go to therapy.
Yeah.
But with men, it's a bit more of a taboo subject because it's that emotions, it's talking, it's the masculinity and all that kind of side of things. So I think that making therapy more accessible to men would be better.
How do you envision that unfold, and how would
I would love for like PTs.
Yeah.
I would love for like a PT therapy session. Do you know what I mean? Or like a boxing therapy session, or maybe not Hydrox because that's very intense, isn't it? But like that kind of
I see
vibe.
that's actually quite that would work, because I feel like they're in a space where like you trust your PT, like, but imagine like, a PT offering that service. It's like, okay, before you train, or like in between your training, this is what like, you know, we can have a chat. I actually have a chat, not just like, oh yeah, how's your day been? Like actually, like let's sit down once a week or over Zoom call and actually chat about that. That's quite smart. Or for example, a PT could like team up with like a therapist, whereby they work together and then they can. If you're a PT out there, we're giving you free business ideas. And if you're local, Samantha is ready to collaborate.
Absolutely.
That is a great idea. I think meeting us where we already are.
You probably feel more comfortable in a gym too, or
Exactly.
that kind of setting.
Yeah.
And if you're, I don't know, you're channeling that energy already. So like, I know you do boxing, don't you?
Yeah.
But even that, like, you're channeling
that
them emotions into, you know, your punch bag.
Yeah.
So you're halfway already doing that kind of stuff. So I just that would be my.
Also, so when it comes to like, let's go back to men again, like, you know, some men find it difficult to obviously express their emotion, show love, receive love. Like, how do those kind of men begin to navigate that? Those emotions?
Again, I would be bringing my little cards out, you know. I've worked with quite a few men who absolutely loved talking about their emotions and understanding that so much more. And what, like I said, what is that feeling? Why, I feel a bit like my hands are going or whatever. Like looking at that. Again, using the cards and just being able to connect with ourselves and say like, oh, okay, like where is that coming from? It doesn't mean that you have to then instantly go off shouting, oh my gosh, like this is how I feel, everyone. Because it's not going to be like that.
No.
But it's amazing seeing how men can really get in tune with how they're feeling and their body's reactions to things. And then they'll go home and be like, oh my gosh, I spoke to my girlfriend today and I told her exactly what's been going on and things have been so much better. And you're like, yes. Yeah.
Like for me, I feel like speaking to my mum, it's like, I feel like it's my therapy session. I feel like every time you have an issue, or when I speak to her, I feel like without her actually offering any advice, I feel like so much like relieved.
Yeah. And I think So that's the thing with therapy is we don't offer advice.
Yeah.
We don't do, and I think a lot of people come and they're like, right, I need you to tell me how I
this,
do this.
Yeah, this is what
and I'm like, it doesn't really work. I wish I had a magic wand. I'd love that. But just you've said it there, like just talking to my mum, and she doesn't even need to give me advice. It just makes me feel better because we're like Coke bottles. When you put the Mentos in and we're bubbling,
of course,
we need to release that. And if we're putting a lid on to suppress it, we're not releasing it anywhere. So it is going to blow. We are going to blow at some point. So by taking the lid off and you being in control of taking the lid off slowly, and who you go and show that to means that you can manage that so much better. Yeah,
absolutely. I feel like it's part of the reason why I feel what do you call it? I feel stronger for it, because I feel like every time and I think my mum as well also benefits from that, because she talks a lot. She's there for ages. Like I listen, she talks, I talk a little bit, but I feel like we both benefit from that. I feel like in my head, that's a form of therapy. Yeah, just being able to get it out and just express how you're feeling
100%.
without, no judgment, and knowing that, So again, goes back to the point where you said, find people that you feel comfortable talking with.
And if you don't have that, then that's where we are.
Therapy, absolutely.
And I think a lot of people really struggle with like, oh, my friends think I'm talking about this particular subject over and over again. I feel like a burden. They might be biased. We've all got them friends where we say, I tell them this, but I wouldn't tell that friend this.
You've got the friend.
Yeah. You don't have that in therapy. It doesn't matter how many times you bring the same subject. We're still going to sit and listen. There literally is no judgment. No one's sat going, oh, they're doing this.
Here we go again.
We don't have that.
At least you're still getting paid for it, so you have to listen to my problem. But you like it or not. Also, so let's look into like navigating mental health, and when it comes to being when you're a neurodivergent individuals. How does mental health support differ? So
for me with neurodivergence, it's quite similar actually in terms of like I'm on the pathway for ADHD, and my son is ADHD and autistic, so I've got that lived experience as well. But it's really hard to understand our emotions when we're ADHD, autistic, whatever it may be. So again, that's why having visuals is so good, because you'll be like, oh, I've picked up a certain character from whatever film. And you're like, what is this? I don't even want to look at it. And it then becomes that like you've picked up anxiety and you don't want to look at it because you are anxious. So why are we anxious? Like, what is happening? And a lot of the time they just don't connect the two. So it's really good with them to be able to use the integrative side, so that I don't have to just sit and talk to them, because believe it or not, some of them don't want to talk.
True.
So, and that's with everybody. Sometimes I don't want to talk. I want to go for a walk or whatever it may be. So that's always really good with them. Just being able to be free and be more creative with them. Sometimes we'll use masks or we'll colour or draw or whatever. It's great because they can just create their own stuff.
What are some non-traditional creative ways people can support their mental health, their mental well-being?
I just think anything that makes you feel good inside, whether that is, it doesn't have to be the typical journaling, gym, whatever. Like, even if it's just, I don't know, go dance in the rain. Literally, go climb to the top of a mountain and scream.
Literally.
Whatever that is that makes you feel better, that's obviously safe. Go and do that.
Safe is the one.
Please.
Stay
Don't
alive.
be falling down mountains. But like, I've had clients before that have like been in the car and they've like, I just wanted to scream. And I was like, well, why didn't you? Why didn't we scream? Why don't you turn the music up really loud and sing? Like, we can just do them things. If it makes us release that little bit.
I love that.
Do it.
So the other topic that I want to look at is boundary setting, and how important is that for you, and how important should it be for everyone to have a healthy boundary?
So even as a therapist, I struggle with boundaries. I'm not even going to lie and pretend that I do. Some clients come and I really struggle with them because I probably connect with them on a more personal level. But boundaries are huge. Huge. I remember so I used to mentor for a young person. And I remember literally them saying, right, this is your job role. And I was like, amazing. And I broke every boundary.
Yeah.
And was like picking her up at 10 o'clock at night. And I was like looking after her and taking her to hospitals and all these kind of crazy things. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But that led to me burning out.
Yeah.
So it's so important now. But I had to get to that point.
Yeah.
And I had to like live that.
Yeah.
To then be like, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
I really need to look after myself. So boundaries, whatever. I always do, like, my clients laugh at me a lot because I put like sticky tape down on the floor and get them to, so in our heads, we don't visualize boundaries because it's in our heads. Like if I've got a boundary of like not messaging you back at whatever time, that's a mental boundary. Whereas if we get it out of our head and make it a physical boundary, it makes it so much more easier to see it. And we're like, oh, right, okay. So if this was a boundary, I would be this far away from it. And that's okay because some of the boundaries we can move closer to us, but some are a firm, no, they stay there. So boundaries, absolutely stick to them if you can. But there are going to be some that move. That's absolutely fine.
When it comes to boundary with other people, talk to me about that. How do you set boundary? How do you, also as well, I feel like sometimes, you know, when you're going through your path in life, some people, you know, along the journey go different ways. And how do you set a boundary to one, make time for yourself, fill your own cup, and also be able to say, okay, it was fun while it lasted. It's time for us to go our separate ways. Talk to me about that. So
I always had a really big problem with this. And I kept loads of people in my life that actually just didn't benefit me. And if you imagine we have like a social battery. And they drain our social battery significantly. So when you come home, then you've got nothing left. So like you said, I was getting fatigued at 6 o'clock. No wonder, because you've probably been around people that drain you. And I always look and think, what do they bring to you? Because there are going to be people in your life that do drain you, but you can manage that. So instead of saying, I see them every day, I'm just going to see them once a week.
Smart,
And then I'm going to do my self-care to build my battery back up. And then I'll feel better. It's all about, for me, like what they bring to me and what they would bring to you. You're not... It just depends on what they bring to you. Yeah, I love that. What are some powerful daily habits that can help heal someone emotionally? So, as I said, I feel like I keep saying the same thing with journaling. Absolutely. Because the good thing with journaling is as well, like you said, with the video, or if you're writing it, or if you wrote a letter to yourself, you can go straight back and look at that and be like, ooh, like, what kept coming up? Why did I feel this way? Has much changed since then? You know, you can really reflect back on, or maybe you've got a trigger that keeps coming up and you don't know why you keep feeling the same way. You can look back and be like, oh, that was maybe why. So journaling straight up. I love meditation. Because I just think that is very present, very now. Whereas our brains, we do a lot of what ifs, anxiety, you know, the future. And I like to just bring it back to the present. The right now. Just be here. Also, like, chuck it bucket. I love a chuck it bucket. What's a chuck it bucket? A chuck it bucket. So I always imagine like a dustbin. And you can just brain dump into that dustbin. Write it down, scribble, whatever, and then rip it up. Set it on fire, scrunch it up, whatever, and chuck it away, and then it's out of your mind. It's gone. It's done with. So it's like you're actually taking that physical action of actually getting it out of your brain and writing it down. Obviously, like I was reading about writing down your goals, how important it is actually write down your goals, because then you're more likely to actually achieve it. It's just like we can see it now. It's actually doable. For people who can't afford therapy right now. What would you advise them? So they can still access therapy. Rather than it being like a private therapy. Obviously, you can go to your GP. There are some amazing, amazing charities out there that do offer free therapy. Or it might be a donation. But they are out there. You just might have to look around a little bit. Search a little harder. But speak to family and friends if possible as well. And surround yourself with people that are going to be able to look after you. So if you are a family and a friend and of someone that is suffering or, you know, going through,
tough time, how can you support them without,
I think it can be really hard because I think it takes it out on you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So set them boundaries.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Self-care for them.
Yeah.
But maybe do self-care together. Maybe you could go to the gym. Maybe you could go out for food. Maybe you could go out for a walk.
Yeah.
Maybe you could journal together.
I love that.
Maybe try stuff like this. And again, just letting them know that you're there.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people just need to hear that. I had a client who openly said that they didn't want to be here anymore.
Oh, wow.
And it took one person to just ask them, are you all right?
Yeah.
And it just brought them out of that place.
So if there's someone listening to this or watching this right now and they're really going through it, what would your advice be to them?
Just try.
Yeah.
Just try. I know that first step into talking to somebody is horrible. And it's so scary. And I know because I've been there myself. I'm still in therapy and I will always be in therapy. But just try it.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that it can change your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got nothing to lose, I don't think.
I love that. Thank you so much for your insight today. It's been very...
Thank you.
Yeah, insightful.
Oh, no, it's been amazing.
Where can people find you if they want to learn more about what you do or, find out about your services? Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
What are your handles?
So Samantha Nicole Counselling.
Yeah.
You can find me there. I have a website.
Yeah.
And I'm based in Rottenstall, so I'm not
amazing.
far.
And also as well, we'd love to have you as part of our community, as part of the contributors. So if people have questions and you're part of the community, you can just directly ask her and hopefully she'll get back to you. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
And what is the last key takeaway?
Just we're not all note takers
and
with glasses and you won't be sat on a sofa and there's no judgment, so just try. Just try. All right, until next time, peace and love.
And that's it for today's episode. If something resonated with you, please do one thing, share it, send it to a friend, post it on your story, or just talk about it with someone you trust. These conversations matter. And please, don't forget to subscribe, rate the show, and download each episode. It helps more people find this space and join our movement. And if you're ready to go deeper, join us at empoweredhumantribe.co.uk and on our socials at Empowered Human Tribe. I'm your host, Adeshina Adeshokon. You are not alone, you are not too late, and you are more powerful than you've ever been told. This is Empowered Human Podcast. Keep on shining. I will see you next time, my friend.